What's up, travel lovers? Bienvenidos and welcome back to my series on hiking the Camino de Santiago, the Northern Way, or what they're calling the Camino del Norte. This is episode 6. I'll be covering days 26 through 30, starting off here in La Caridad and hopefully making it to Baamonde. Well, St. James is waiting for me, so I'm gonna hit the trail. On day 26, I would leave La Caridad and arrive to Ribadeo, covering roughly 29.6 kilometers and approximately 150 meters of elevation. On today's journey, I will be in close proximity of the coast the entire day. In less than 15 minutes, I had left the town and the pavement behind me. I would walk through some small patches of forest that would often be connected with farmland. This would continue for almost 10 kilometers before I would reach the very charming town of Tapia de Casariego. I would check out the port and then stop and enjoy Playa del Murallón or Malegas, since this was one of the last beaches I would see on the Camino, as tomorrow I would start to head inland towards Santiago de Compostela. A sign marker put me back in the right direction, and for the next few kilometers I would walk along country roads with nothing but my thoughts. It was not long until I found a small chapel, the Ermita de San Lorenzo, outside the small town of Santa Gadea. As I got closer, I was rewarded with my last beach view of the Camino, and it was a good one, Playa de Peñaranda. In less than 3 kilometers, I would make it to Figueras, from where I could see the endpoint. As I crossed the bridge, I was entering into Galicia and the final region of the pilgrimage. I entered Ribadeo, got my stamp, and went to bed. The next morning, I got up early and hit the trail. On day 27, I would leave Ribadeo and arrive to Lorenza, covering roughly 28.4 kilometers and approximately 650 meters of elevation. I said goodbye to the coast and started trekking inland. In a few short kilometers, all that was left was a glimmer of Ribadeo. All I could see were green hills on the horizon in front of me. It wasn't long before I was reminded I was now in Galicia. Every few hundred meters they had really nice Camino markers. Best part was that they stated how far until the end. It was great to see the number get smaller. The further I made it into the hills, the deeper I got into rural areas. It was hard to believe that I only had 1 week left. Such an amazing journey. Better I not try to describe it, but rather you experience it for yourself. I just tried to soak it all in, stopping to enjoy the views and even making new friends, as often as possible. Before I knew it, I had arrived to Lorenza. On day 28, I would leave Lorenza and arrive to Abadín, covering roughly 25.2 kilometers and approximately 500 meters of elevation. First thing I did was check out the San Salvador de Villanueva Monastery. Stunning 17th century Baroque architecture, and if the doors are open, I suggest taking a peek inside. 20 minutes later, I was determined to complete part of the day's hike. From Lorenza, I would make a steep 200-meter climb with the next few kilometers filled with great scenery. I met another peregrino and we walked together discussing our experiences so far. And in no time, we entered the historic town of Mondoñedo. It is one of the 7 capital cities in the Kingdom of Galicia, and it is a great place to take a break. I took a few minutes to explore the town as well as check out the Cathedral de Mondoñedo, that was built in the early 1200s. Update peregrinos, it is midway point of day 28. This is the last week of the Camino del Norte. I cannot believe I've walked so far. There is only 155 kilometers left until I make it to Santiago. I'm in Mondoñedo. It started raining, but we gotta keep going. It was starting to become obvious that with each step I took towards Santiago, the greater influence the Camino had on the culture of the town or village I passed. I left Montañedo with about 17 more kilometers to complete. First, entering a forest made of eucalyptus trees, passing grazing land and one hill after another. The weather was not perfect, but there was still a beauty. A dense fog that gave the terrain an enchanting sensation. If there was ever any question if Galicia was as green as the other regions, there were certainly no doubts anymore. I continued hiking, and around dusk the fog got thicker and thicker. Luckily, I was close and entered Abadín right at total darkness. On day 29, I would leave Abadín and arrive to Vilalba, covering roughly 20.7 kilometers and approximately 150 meters of elevation. Once again, I headed out into the unknown. After the past few days of hiking, today's hike was going to be a breeze. The fog from yesterday was still looming, but it would have to take a hurricane to postpone me from accomplishing my goal. I hiked among dense forests with muddy paths. Fields of mushrooms were growing on thick algae. It was pretty much a biologist's fantasy, and even enjoyable for a layman such as myself. With a gust of wind, leaves would rain down, reminding me that winter was near. Even though I had left the coast, the element of water was all around me. Later, I even passed a group of peregrinos doing the Camino by horse. I had just a few more kilometers before I arrived to Vilalba in the late afternoon. On day 30, I would leave Vilalba and arrive to Baamonde, covering roughly 18.6 kilometers and approximately 150 meters of elevation. Today was another easy day, so I woke up and explored the center of Vilalba. There was a nice market with local delicacies. After taking a gander, I decided to go on my way. The weather forecast said to expect rain, but didn't say when or how hard it would come. I trekked through some more dense forests and farmland and almost got caught in a stampede, as a rancher was moving his cows to a new pasture. A relatively mellow day, which after 29 days of hiking was much appreciated. It was getting dark quickly and the rain was getting stronger, but fortunately I was entering Baamonde. Fighting the elements was no longer my responsibility. For today at least.
As you can see, it was a rainy day today, but I just made it to the albergue in Baamonde. That means that day 30 is complete. And unfortunately, this is the end of episode 6. So if you have any questions about days 26 through 30, hit me up in the comment box below. Until next time, safe travels.
Don't leave yet. There's tons of great videos to keep watching. More importantly, did you subscribe yet?